Hello, everybody. My name is Jim Farmer. I am the festival director of Out on Film, Atlanta's LGBTQ Film Festival. This is our 38th year, and we have some amazing films. As always, we have incredible shorts programs. One of our favorite programs is Let's Talk About Sex, which screens Wednesday, October 1st at 8 p.m. at the Midtown Arts Cinema. And we have several directors with us today. We're going to go around the Zoom room and have them introduce themselves and tell us a little bit more about their projects. We'll start with Zac.
I'm Zac Hug. I directed Just Between Us. I co-wrote it with Ben Baur, who also stars in it. Yeah, I had a really good time talking about sex.
Great. Okay. Hannah.
Hey, Hannah Wolf, she, her, hers. I directed Double Date, written by Grace McLeod. Yeah, that was a really fun comedy sex short.
Great. And Jeremy.
Yeah, my name is Jeremy. I directed AutoErotica, We Buy Gay Stuff, which is a documentary short about a vintage porn store.
Okay, great. For all of you, where are you right now in terms of your festival run?
I think this is our fifth. We started in Honolulu this year. It's our first year out. And yeah, I think we've got a few more after this, but I think we're in our fifth one now. So
Okay, great.
yeah.
Out on Film is our second, and then we'll be at New Fest a few weeks after that in New York, and I think a few more to come.
Okay, great. And Jeremy.
I think this is our sixth film festival. We started at Frameline, um, did Dublin for gays recently, and yeah, I think we're getting through our festival run right now, probably in the middle of it at this point.
Great. Fremont seems an appropriate place to have started this, can you sort of talk about, you know, your film and why you decided to make it and obviously it being there and documenting that and tell me more about it.
Totally. So I used to live in Texas, and my friends and I would go to Autoerotica whenever we were in San Francisco. We'd probably come once a year for years. And yeah, it was just an incredible store. It's like, I don't know, less than 1,000 square feet. It's on the second story of a building in the Castro. And yeah, it's just like jam-packed with tons of magazines and DVDs, VHSs, 8 millimeter films, but also like posters and copies of newspapers and stuff from, I think the moment that for me is always fascinating is like 1976 through 1984. I thought it was a very formative moment in queer culture, and it has tons of items from that moment. And yeah, the film kind of explores the value of erotic content and how it maybe has, it's a little more important than just the horniness available in it. It kind of documents a really beautiful moment in queer history.
Good. Zach and Hannah, your films are narratives. So just talk to me a little bit about, one of the things I really like about all these films is that, there's central characters who are all very vivid, well drawn. But can both of you, Zach and Hannah, just sort of talk about, making, dealing with character first, and then the struggle that not only the challenge of doing that, but in a fairly compressed amount of time being in a short film. And both of your films, I think Double Date is 9 minutes. Just between us is 16. Talk about the challenge of creating rich characters, but do it so in a fairly short amount of time.
Oh, I think with the writing of Grace with this piece and then the like excellent actors with Ellen Williams and Emma Maltby, like they made my job easy. I think great like Double Date is about a middle-aged, newly out lesbian who's just blown up her life, who hires a sex worker in the hour before her first third date, like the at home we're gonna make dinner together date. And so Grace and I had done quite a bit of research and interviews, and it's a pretty common thing that happens with a lot of these new middle-aged, newly out lesbians because they are trying to be perfect or be experts at a thing that they're very afraid of in this moment of like blowing up their lives. And so it was when we handed this character to Ellen, and we had actually written the character for Ellen, who's a fantastic actor. She really just dove in and knows these people and had a really great time in finding what is the comedy in perfectionism in this moment in someone's life.
Zach?
Uh, yeah, we I Ben sent me the script and he had really wanted to talk about open relationships without indicting them in any way. I think we both were very interested in making portraying a couple who were open and that wasn't the problem. That actually that there was that is sort of a solution, but also that what becomes the problem in that is a sense of trust in how we feel about it. So this couple decides they're going to have sex, just the two of them, the next time they do it. And of course, that turns out to be really hard for them. I hate that feature. I don't know why it happens. I'm so sorry. Um, but also, I think, for me, I think Ben having written the first draft of it and then my coming on board and writing it with him, Ben has such a sensibility that I knew no matter what we did would have his kind of brand of fun and
Yeah.
he sort of he brings all that to sort of he's done so many queer shorts and he sort of the joke that I always make about him is that he's sort of like the Meg Ryan of queer indie shorts.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But I think I think also like I for a living I write Hallmark movies and so like I wanted to write something that looked like my life that also was brightly colored and rom-commy and interesting and funny and I hope we did that but it still feels longer than it needs to be but I think that's your first movie.
I mean, there's open relationships are pretty common these days, but there's still I think people are still figuring them out, all the dimensions and the do's and don'ts and what you can do, what you can't do. And I think this film does a really good job of that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hannah, your film is probably, I mean, this is a combination of films that are historic, funny, dramatic, deal with sex. Your film is probably, the most overt comedic. How did you know? I mean, how did you know? When you're making a comedy, how do you sort of know when you're making it if it's working or not?
That's a good question. I think mm, I'll also say this is my first film. I come from theater and I'm a comedy theater director. I
Yeah.
do comedies and musicals. And so there's something so interesting in the filmmaking process of um, trying to calibrate comedy in a way that feels really grounded.
Yeah.
And we were really trying to attempt that with this and not something that lives more in genre or tone or like moves more into clowning.
Yeah.
And so it was really helpful for me to work with Ellen and Emma, but specifically Ellen and find like, give us a couple versions because we're going to figure this out in the edit.
Mhm.
Which for me, I get to figure it out in rehearsals with actors without a lot of eyes on me and not a ton of time pressure. And so it was fun to be able to play with like what's the tone we want this to start in and what's the arc of it in terms of
Yeah.
tone and where can we end in a more grounded place. And so that's what we were attempting to achieve with this piece.
Okay, great. So, Jeremy, what I love about Autoerotica, the film, Autoerotica, the location, is that, I mean, it really, for a lot of men who are discovering their sexuality and discovering sexuality themselves, autoerotica was just hugely important in that development. Can you sort of talk about that aspect for them?
Yeah, I think there's a comment that he makes towards the end of the film, and he's like, a lot of people come to this store trying to find certain magazines that like their mom found under their bed. And there's a lot of people who like are actually able to like locate certain magazines from their I don't know, childhood or
Yeah.
more formative years. And they can revisit that. And yeah, it is kind of interesting because there was a certain age group that had like physical media be a part of their kind of queer awakening, and now probably most younger people are completely dealing with the internet. So yeah, there's a little bit of a transitional moment between being able to like actually find these things in the real world and now and then after a certain period that just stopped being a thing. Um, so yeah, it's pretty amazing that people can kind of like revisit their past like that.
Okay, great. For all three of you, I wanted to ask you about this. Can you talk about the importance of having queer themes in your films, especially right now at a time where, there's the administration is this is a very scary time right now. Our community is being threatened, trying to be erased. But can you sort of talk about having these positive images of our community out right now and continuing to tell these stories?
I think it's just shocking how quickly this felt subversive. I mean, I think that in making this, it was kind of like, oh, this is what my life is like. These are what my friends are like. And I don't think I was ever, certainly in making it. I mean, we made it in LA, I think like a week after the fires, and that was the most intense part of it, right? That like, and now seeing what has been deemed problematic by, the government, that never occurred to me making it, but it's, 8 months later, and I think that's a really weird place to be. I
Mhm.
don't think I'm gonna stop trying to make queer art. It just definitely it's the first time that I think I mean, it's not the first time in my life that I've been given pause about what I'm making, but it's certainly very different than it was when I set out to write it because it was a goofy, fun rom-com, and now it's wait, where is this? It's that feeling of paranoia that I think we're all trying to combat right now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, the core of Double Date is a person in the middle of their life making a massive life change and reassessing who they are and exploring. And I do think that being able to tell those stories right now and telling the story of like you can change at any moment in your life and it's gonna be okay feels really important,
Mhm.
no matter what that change looks like for anyone. And I grew up in in Alaska with like no access to pop culture or the outside world. And so like I didn't even know the word lesbian until like high school. I didn't know what it looked like until I was like at college with Netflix DVDs of the L Word figuring myself out. And so I do think it's really important to like tell these stories with a lens of comedy, tell these stories for like any age group and just continue to put out content that may not be like trauma involved, but also may be like a way to open a door for someone to do some research to find themselves.
Okay. Okay, great.
I gotta say, just going through this process of being in festivals, it really has reminded me the value of queer film festivals and how there's like a lack of censorship. Like you can see really wild things and really subversive films and talk about taboo subjects. And you would think maybe we don't need these things. Like there's more access to this type of artwork than ever before, but like it's not true. Like we still need these festivals, and it's like these spaces where you can like delve into really interesting, exciting, controversial topics. And so it does feel like very sacred to be in a room full of people kind of going into the unknown. And these things, being gay is still controversial apparently. And these festivals let us dive into the kind of icky, freaky, fun parts of that.
I would say also the one other thing I love about these festivals too is that the number of other just queer filmmakers and what they're working on. It's like you find yourself kind of like in a van with someone whose work you've seen, and you're just like, tell me everything. Like there's such a great, it's almost like a really fun academia in a really weird way. Like it's great to meet other queer actors who were in the thing that you just saw and ask them like, what is your process about this? How did this go for you? And there's so much learning being passed around at these things that I'm obsessed with it now. So.
Great. All right, one more quick question. What's next for all three of you?
I'm writing a play about the theft of the Irish crown jewels that took place at an orgy in the early 1900s, like a big queer orgy. And they still haven't found them. So yeah, that's what I'm working on.
Out on film 2026, we have to have Hannah.
Yeah, I'm in rehearsals and in development with a couple of theater things right now and working on then the I guess the filmmaker bug sort of hit me, so working on that on the next short.
Great. And Jeremy.
We're exploring turning our short into a feature, which when I finished it, I just thought, well, that was fun. Glad that's over. But the subject, Patrick, uh, pitched me his own kind of concept because he was awful. He did not like making the film. He was very, very resistant to it. And then when he saw the first cut, I think he felt well represented. And it was very funny. I ran into him at an art gallery, and it's sort of like running into your teacher outside of school because I've never seen him outside of the store. And he's like, I just watched this Liza Minnelli documentary, and if she has a full one feature, I want one. And I'm like, Patrick, no offense, but that's Liza Minnelli. She has a lot to tell, but we've examined kind of him picking up objects within the store, and then that launches into like a vignette about different aspects of San Francisco queer culture. So we'll see if we can pull it off.
Great. So out on film 2027 for that one. So anyway,
Yes.
great.
See you there.
Thank you all so much. Okay, let's talk about sex screens. Wednesday, October 1st at 8 o'clock at the Midtown Arts Cinema, followed by a brief streaming period. All these films are eligible for audience awards. Zac, Hannah, Jeremy, thank you so much for your films. Autoerotica, We Buy Gay Stuff, Double Date. Just Between Us are three of the great films as part of this program. Thank you all for sharing your films, and thank you all for taking the time to talk to us today.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks
Appreciate
so
it.
much. I appreciate it.